Hello everyone and welcome back. Jean Umberto here. In this video we are going to take a look at arrays as objects, and this is going to be a big chance for us to explore the power of object, especially when we understand its members, and that would be its properties and methods. We are going to focus more on the practical aspect of this discussion, but it's very important for us to take a quick theoretical overview before we dive in. So here's the things that I want you to remember. That an object has method and properties, and of course this could be one or more method or one or more properties. Because objects are just like functions, we need to know as developers what a method returns. Just like a function will be expected to return a certain value of a certain type or a certain object. So it's very important that we also know exactly what we get back from a method. And of course a method might return absolutely nothing, so it's very important for us to understand what we get back. Do we get something from the method? Does it return something, or does it not return anything? The next thing that we will need to figure out is whether or not the method itself accepts or takes one or more argument, or if it takes no argument at all. That is very, very important. And you think about the argument that you can pass to this method as the parameter that was defined along with the method itself. So it's very important to have the habit of reading the documentation regarding a certain object before you start using it, trying to find out what method and properties you have available from that object. So here's a list of methods that we are going to explore from the array object. We're going to look at the reverse method, we're going to look at the sort method, we'll look at push, shift, pop, ForEach, and include. And I'm going to encourage you to take a look at the full documentation from the Mozilla developer link, which I've provided right here. The single property of the array object that we'll take a look at, of course, will be the length property. So let us go ahead and start practicing. I am going to launch the NetBeans IDE, and I could launch it from the desktop right here. You can see I've got a shortcut, or I could go straight to the start button, that is the Windows button, and go to NetBeans IDE right here. So I'm just going to open it up from there. And now that NetBeans has been fired up, I'm going to use the same project folder, that is the JS arrays project that we've been working with, and now I'm just gonna create a new file here right on top of the site root, and that means that the file is going to be kept under that site root location, and I'll say new and JavaScript, and it's a JavaScript file. I'm just gonna name it arrays as object, and I'll click finish. Okay, so I've created that file and I've named it arrays as object. You can go ahead and do the same, and like I said before, you can use any text editor, any IDE of your choice. So I will remove all the generated comment as usual, and I'll save my changes. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to reuse the same variable that we used before, and that is of course the weekdays variable. So we had that weekdays variable, which contains a list of weekdays from Monday to Sunday, and of course you can see that we have our opening and closing square bracket indicating that this is an array. Okay, so let us start exploring the array object method. First of all, before I do anything, I simply want to go ahead and log everything on the console. So I'll just go directly, and this is possible in JavaScript, that you can go ahead and have a look at the entire data structure, and you can see I just want to look at the entire array here by simply saying console.log weekdays, and there you have it. You have the entire array starting from the opening square bracket to the end of it here. So you have Monday, Tuesday up to Sunday. So let us use the first method. Let me just list all the methods that we said we're going to use here. We said we're going to use the reverse method, and after that method we said we're going to use the sort method, and we're also going to look at the push method. We're also going to look at the pop method, and we said we're also going to look at the ForEach. Yes, I think we did say that. And what else are we going to look at? So that is reverse, sort, push, pop, ForEach, and we're also going to look at includes. Okay, so that is okay. So now, and if you can see that this line is commented, so it won't have any impact on the execution of the program itself. So I can run that file again, and you can see really nothing happens because everything is commented there. So now let us start with the reverse. And remember what I said earlier, for you to access the object members, you need to use the dot. So you just have to say dot. That's a kind of a nice notation there. Okay, so now before printing out here, before this print statement here, which is the console.log statement, I simply want to say here that I want to reverse that object. So I'll simply say weekdays dot reverse. So now reverse is our first method that we are using, and I want to run this file again, and what you're going to observe is that the element in the list will actually change their position. So the order is going to be changed. The last becomes the first and the first becomes the last. So let us run that again, and now you can see that Sunday is now at the head, is now the head of this list, and Monday has become the tail. Monday is gone and becomes the last element. So the last becomes the first and the first becomes the last. So that is what the reverse method does. It actually reverses the order of the array list items. Okay, so that is the first method to explore. I'm just going to go ahead and comment it out. The next method we're going to look at is, of course, the sort method, and what I will do is simply say again weekdays, and I'll say sort. What sort does is basically create alphabetical order in the list. So it's going to sort everything for me, and I'm talking about alphabetical because we are talking about strings here. All these elements are string, and be careful about the sort method, especially when you're using numbers. Okay, and we're not going to talk about this for now, but let us focus on what we have here. So now I'm just going to run this file again, and I can see that the order has changed because we have now sorted. Okay, that is sorting alphabetically. Now Friday is the first on the list, so we have Friday followed by Monday, and then Saturday, Sunday, Thursday, and you can see Wednesday is the last. So we started from Friday, that is F, and then we have M, and then we have S, and then we have another S, and of course SA comes before SU, and so on. We have Thursday, Tuesday, and lastly Wednesday. So that is what the sort method does. It arrange your items by order of basically alphabetical order, especially if you are dealing with strings. So I'm just going to go ahead and comment that out. And the next thing is I'll say again is weekdays dot push. Now push, as you can see here, takes an argument, and that's what I said in the discussion, that every time you want to use a method, it's a good idea for you to understand whether the method takes or accepts any argument. And you can see here that we have to pass in an element as an argument here, and what it's going to do is basically going to add. So push is going to add that element to the list. So I'm just going to push here, and I'll push the word extra 1. I'll go ahead and save this, and I will rerun the file, and now you can see that right at the tail here, at the end of the list, we have another element that is extra 1. So you could go ahead and add a few more elements here if you wish, and I'm just going to say 2 here, and I'll say 3 there. So I'll just run that again, and now you can see we have extra 1, extra 2, extra 3, and all these elements, all these values have been appended to the list. So I'll go ahead and remove that again. Okay, remove all this, and I will just comment this out. So I'm gonna save again, And now we're going to look at pop. Okay, so I'll say weekdays, and I'll say pop. Pop does not take any argument, as you can see here. So what pop is going to do is basically remove the last item on the list, and here this happens to be Sunday. So this is basically say, hey, Sunday, be gone. So I will right click and run this file again, and now you can see that the last item is no longer Sunday, but it is now Saturday. So that is what the pop behavior or the pop method does. So I'll go back again. I'm gonna comment that out. And the last two methods we said we're going to explore were, of course, the ForEach. So what the ForEach does is basically iterate over the list. So it's just going to do like the for loop that we looked at earlier does. It's going to go from the element at index 0 to the element at the tail, or the last element in our list, and it can return both the position and the item value itself. So let's go ahead and see how that works. So I'll simply say weekdays, and this time I'll say for each. Now for each does take a function as an argument, so it doesn't take a string value or a number or a boolean value. It takes a function, so this is known as the callback function, and here we're going to pass in an anonymous function. We simply say function, and this function can take two arguments. That will be the item and the index of the item itself. And now this is going to be easier than actually using the for loop. Now we can access every item of the array by simply saying item, or access the index by simply saying index. So let's go ahead and see how that works. So now I'm just going to say weekdays.log, and now here I just want to log the items right inside the body of this function here. Okay, so I will run this code, and now you can see that it does loop. It started from Monday to Sunday, just like the for loop did in the past. So what if I want to see the index? That will be the position. So now you can see that now we have from 0 to 6, and I can actually try to go ahead and be a bit more fancy and simply say index, right, and I can just concatenate it with okay, so I can actually display both the index and the item. So I'll go ahead and run this, and now you can see that we have 0, that's Monday, 1, Tuesday, 2, and so forth. So this is great. Lastly, we are going to look at the include method, and the include method takes one argument, and that will be the value of whatever item you want to search or you want to look for. And what this does is basically checks if the value that is passed in as the argument exists as an item in the list. For example, if you want to check if Monday exists in this list, you'll simply say include, and then you can pass in Monday as the argument. So let us see how that works. So I'll say weekdays, and now I'm just gonna say include, and I'll say Monday. Okay, so what this is gonna do is return true, and that is a boolean value if that value or that items exist, or return false if that item is not in our list. So this is a kind of a powerful way to create your searches. So let us test that. So we'll say console.log, and I'm just gonna go ahead and close the log right here, and that's a statement that we're gonna use to test. I'll right click, and now you can see down here that it says true, which means that of course Monday is in this list. But what if I said something different? What if I said Monday misspelled like this with an E? I'll right click again, run this. Now you can see that this Monday here does not exist in our list. But what if I said something like Friday? So I'll run this again. Now you can see true that Friday exists in our list. So this is a powerful way for you to search through what you have in your item list. Now in the next video, we are going to take a quick look at the string as an object, and much later on we are going to combine the power of strings and array object and do some powerful things. Thank you for watching.